And welcome to our second episode of Tuesday Q&R, where we answer our customers' top questions in 10 minutes or less. Today, we are focusing on hoses, and we have Patrick Kirk, who is Ratermann's West Coast Territory Manager, here to answer those questions. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Marie, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
That's good. Should we hop into these questions since we only have 10 minutes?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first question we have from one of our customers is, what questions should I ask my customer to get the optimum hose for their application?
Okay. There's basically 6 questions that you need to ask every customer to identify the best type of hose for their application. The questions would be, what is the application? Is it cryogenic or gas? What is the maximum pressure the hose will see? This is the second question. What's the maximum pressure? Third question, typically I don't get an answer on this, but what is the flow rate? It's helpful to know what the flow rate is. That would be expressed in terms of standard cubic feet per hour. After that, what length do you want the hose in? And keep in mind that we make these hoses in 1-foot increments. So a 4-foot, 5-foot, or 6-foot hose is more likely to be in stock than an odd size. The next question would be, do you want it oxygen cleaned, clean for oxygen use? And then the last question would be, do you want armor on the hose? If you ask those 6 questions and turn those answers in, when ordering the hose, you will get the correct hose for your application.
Fantastic. All right. And number 2 from one of our customers is, what is the life expectancy of a hose?
Okay, that's a question I was asked quite a bit over the years. And there is no printed life expectancy of a hose. There is a rule of thumb in the industry that hoses will last 5 years. Every hose built and used should have printed on the outside the date of manufacture, the manufacturer's name, and the maximum pressure the hose will carry. That'll be printed either engraved, stamped. It'll be on the outside of every hose in your fill facility. The life expectancy being 5 years, I would recommend yearly that you do a visual maintenance. You look at the hoses, make sure there's no crimps. Kinks on a hose are a good reason to replace a hose, or any debris or grease or anything like that on the hose. Take it off and put a new hose in its place. Kinking on a hose is a good indication that the cylinder was dropped while the hose was still hooked up to it. And I would highly recommend that any hoses that have kinks be removed, because the first place they're going to break when the pressure is applied is in that spot where the kink is. But on the 5 years, every 5 years for a hose, I would say that's a good rule of thumb in a standard fill plant where the hoses are being changed out between 8 to 12 times a day. If you have a fill plant where it's not seeing as much production and you're only changing the fill racks out 1 to 3 times a day, that hose is going to outlast the other hose that's being used a lot. That hose could probably go longer as long as you do the visual inspections every year and make sure the hose is in good working condition.
Next question we have is, can I use my PTFE hose with cryogenics?
Yes, you can. For a light amount of cryogenics, it's not recommended that a PTFE hose carry cryogenics all the time. It can withstand a small amount of cryogenics getting in the inner core. But I would say if you're setting up for a cryogenic application, there are much better choices of hoses to go after. An all-metal hose would be a better choice. An all-metal hose with a Teflon liner would even be better.
And our final question is, what is the most commonly used hose?
Without a doubt, in our industry, the most commonly used hose would be the PTFE intercore 3000 psi hose that is used in fill facilities all across the United States. This is typically a 1/4 inch hose, intercore, with a armor casing on the outside. By far, that is the most used hose throughout our industry.
Thank you, Patrick, for all of your wisdom and time that you shared with us today. And next week, Ed Yeoman is going to be joining us, who is our East Coast Territory Sales Manager, to talk about common questions about liquid cylinders. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Marie.
We would also like to mention that we have a hose builder where you can get the correct hose for whatever application you need at hosemanufacturing.com or access it through our RMI order website. All you have to do is click your application, your gas type, your pressure, casing, length, and then you choose your inlet fitting and outlet fitting, and then you press build it and it'll build the correct hose for you. We would also like to ask you to follow us on LinkedIn, where we have all of our most up-to-date podcasts, videos, webinar training offerings, and more. And that's on the Ratermann Manufacturing LinkedIn page. Thanks.